Depth charge, President accounted for, and this is going to be the story of how role-playing video games have become my favorite genre of gaming. This story starts when I was in the 5th grade, back when the Nintendo Entertainment System was the system to have amongst the little boys and girls, and some older ones too. Mario was king at this time, and it was around 1989 when I got my hands on a gift from my parents of this little game called Dragon Warrior. As you are listening to me tell this story, you are watching me play this classic game using the original cartridge my parents gifted me, and I am playing it using my Retron 5. Alright, I'd like y'all in the audience to play a game of sorts as I'm telling this story. In this video, I am playing the original Dragon Warrior in the background, and I am playing with the goal in mind to gain levels as fast as possible, but also without dying. Now, since I'm the one who played and recorded this footage, I know, and hopefully you do too, that I'm not going to die and I'm going to gain levels. The question is, at what level am I going to be at the conclusion of this story? Please submit your guess in the comments section. Now, on with the story. Of course, I was being sarcastic when I said earlier that Dragon Warrior is a little game. Dragon Warrior, always known as Dragon Quest in Japan, only more recently known as Dragon Quest in the USA, is quite possibly the most important role-playing console game of all time. And that's not an exaggeration. It's not the first video game of the role-playing genre, but its importance in establishing tropes and traditions in future role-playing games is undeniable. I am very thankful that I got to play this game in its entirety as a child so I can look back fondly on these memories and tell this story now and in the future. Dragon Warrior is simple in its design because it has to be. The limitations in graphics and memory at the time mandated simple character designs, simple programming, and virtually no story to be told within the game itself. What's interesting about role-playing games as a genre is that the story is very important, a lot more important than other types of games. And yet role-playing games premiered at a time when there was hardly any way to tell a story within these games. So of course the instruction manual and other supplemental materials were used to give background information, give a sense of character growth and development, and tell a story in a more detailed manner than the game could. Now, on to the game itself. I will never forget the locations of this game. To this day, I remember that there is a quote-unquote town that is home to monsters, that there is a princess to be saved from a dragon, that my character's sprite changes when I am carrying her back to the king, and that there is a metal slime that I still have never killed to this day in any of my time playing this game. The lasting positive effects that this game has had on me is unbelievable. This game launched my interest in the greatest genre of video games of all time, my opinion of course, and also inspired me as a boy to be a good person and help others. You might find the last thing I said to be cheesy and unrealistic, and you are probably right about the cheesy part, but not about the helping others part. As a 5th grade boy who was growing physically and mentally, trying to figure things out, this game literally helped me realize that fighting an evil force and potentially saving a girl from someone who means her harm is a good thing. Now, as a 5th grade boy, I didn't fully understand that the likelihood of me saving anybody from anything at the time was about 0. But that didn't stop me from having those thoughts flow through my mind as I recounted my travels through the world map and dungeons of Dragon Warrior, slaying monsters and collecting golden items. The personal connection that I have with this game and other games with similar themes simply shatter the notion, in my opinion, that the damsel in distress trope and other tropes in video games promote sexism and the poor treatment of women in the minds of boys and men. Role-playing games are a vastly different kind of experience than other genres of video games. These games are not designed to be completed with a speedrun because there is a story, character development, strategy for battle, and inventory to manage. In modern times, we have the technology to create beautiful scenery, and sometimes it is some of the most breathtaking scenery to look at when a player just wants to take a break. These features are in some other genres of games as well, like fighting, puzzle, action, and sports games, but none of these other genres will contain all of these features all put together in one package. I'm not saying that all of these features put together in one package necessarily make the role-playing genre better than the others. I'm just saying that these aspects of role-playing games are what contribute to me choosing this genre to be my favorite. You probably are noticing that I put a message on the screen indicating each level gain as it happens. Back in these ancient times of video games, there had to be a lot of text because the graphical limitations were so great. And one way to keep the player excited and interested was to make a level change an event with music and an enthusiastic message congratulating the player for a job well done. These level progressions also help the player become invested in the character or characters as they gained abilities and grew in their improved attributes like strength, vitality, etc. Technology has improved very drastically in a very short period of time, and as a result, there are other ways to grab the player's attention, like character development in the story, flashy graphics, and mini-games or side quests to spice things up. Even though flashy graphics are always pretty to look at, I prefer good characters and quality gameplay any day. I will never forget the fun mini-games at the Gold Saucer in Final Fantasy VII and Blitzball in Final Fantasy X. Oh, Blitzball. I have sunk so many hours into this minigame, probably more than any other minigame in any video game ever. Now, let's talk music. The music of role-playing games is quite possibly the most epic music for any type of video game. I think one of the reasons that so much time and effort is put into the music of these games is that great music adds to the immersion within a potentially movie-like experience. Here's a short clip of what is potentially my favorite song of all time from Final Fantasy V. That is some serious epicness. You can just feel the intensity from the start of that song. And these games are exactly that, an epic experience. Don't get me wrong, the Super Mario platforming games are amazing and super fun to play. But they are light on this movie-like experience, for instance, so that gameplay and visuals can be the focus. Yes, there is quote-unquote a story, but it's very basic and absurd, on purpose, because that is not the point of the game. As I wrap this video essay up, the final topic is going to be the protagonist. Role-playing games connect the player with the protagonist better than any other type of game. Playing as Mario or Sonic is great, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, I don't identify with or care about Mario and Sonic like I do Squall Leonhardt or the hero from Dragon Quest. When I think of some of my favorite characters in video games, they are from role-playing games. Please don't think that I am slamming or disrespecting other types of video games. If you prefer platformers and strategy games over role-playing games, that is fine. Also, you might say that other genres of games have all the elements of role-playing games, and in some instances, you are probably right. The stealth genre has a protagonist, character development and story, inventory, cool cutscenes and graphics, and all the other elements contained in role-playing games. However, here's my perspective when it comes to comparing genres. I don't play stealth games like Metal Gear Solid, and when I say that role-playing games are the best types of video games, it is not from an unbiased or completely objective perspective. You may be wondering which series of role-playing games are my favorites. Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy are the cream of the crop when it comes to the best role-playing game series of all time, and Zelda is in the mix too. And by the way, Zelda is role-playing. Please refer to Zelda 2 as an example. I'm having a hard time these days deciding which I like better, Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy. In my view, Dragon Quest has maintained its level of quality over its lifespan better than Final Fantasy has. I played Dragon Quest XI, the most recent installment, not too long ago, and it was an experience to say the least. I have put more hours into Dragon Quest XI than any other in the series. And as far as Final Fantasy goes, I tried Final Fantasy 15, and I lost interest quickly. And I have no interest at the moment in picking it up again. With the recent release of Final Fantasy VII Remake, I hope that I can rekindle my love for Final Fantasy. Overall, I still think I like Final Fantasy better than Dragon Quest, but the gap has closed significantly over the years. All right, here we are at the end, and I have reached level 3. I hope you guessed correctly in the comments. Please contribute to the comments section and share your love for role-playing games. Which game or game series you like the best, or why you don't like this genre of gaming at all. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and be kind to each other in the comments and out there in the world, as these are uncertain times.